Control, this is Houston. We are go for launch.
Hold on to your lug nuts. It's time for an overhaul.
Turn it up some.
I'm your huckleberry.
I don't give jobs, I hire men. You won't give me anything, and I won't give you anything.
Collision, sir.
Whoa, relax. We're not even moving.
There's no crying in baseball.
Live and statewide from Spence Broadcast Plaza, we're News New Mexico for Tuesday, April 24th, 2012. Jim Spence is doing well, a little on the mend right now. He'll be back shortly. I'm Michael Swickard. Aaron Henry Diaz is here. Jerry Harden is our producer-director. You can go to newsnm.com and follow along. On the Newsmaker line, our good friend and colleague, Marita Noon. Energy makes America great. Org. Don't. It's org is which one it is.
Don't forget that now.
Yeah, Marita, good to talk to you. You raise a question, bringing America to her knees. You know when I think America started down to her knees?
When?
It was right when President Lyndon Johnson and the Democrats in Congress decided to steal the money from Social Security and just write an IOU. Because it wasn't if it was going to bring America to its knees, it was just when. When they stole the money out of Social Security such that every dollar in your whole lifetime you've ever put into Social Security is taken that year, and they write an IOU that says when Marita Noon reaches the age she should get Social Security, please tax that generation. That started us down the road to our knees. But you're talking about in your column, environmentalism, less about hugging trees, more about bringing America to her knees. You're talking about on the energy watch, aren't you?
Well, funny thing, I am talking about energy.
Imagine.
Well, I know. It's hard to imagine that I would talk about energy. But, really I'm talking about environmentalism and the role that it plays in resource extraction limitation in this country. And that's the role of what I'm talking about. And specifically in my column, I kind of posit that President Obama is so beholden to the environmental community that in order to get reelected, in order to get their support, he has to block resource extraction because they are on record as really threatening him with pulling their support. Now, I had a personal email in response to my column. Someone said, well, who else are they going to endorse? Of course they're going to endorse President Obama. But no, they don't have to endorse anybody. And they can withhold, the big thing is they can withhold their funding, and they can choose to not vote. The environmental community represents roughly 4 million votes in this country. And as a result of that, the leadership of the environmental movement, the various groups such as what I reference in the column, the Sierra Club and the National Resources Defense Council, which has 400 attorneys on their staff, those types of groups kind of have control or dictate or at least ability to influence 4 million voters. And if they're not happy with the president, there's a likelihood that they'll stay home, and they certainly can withhold their funding.
Well, the thing is with Marita, though, everything I've read about Barack Obama says that you don't have to convince him to do these things. This is what he really believes.
Well, I believe that is what he really believes, but and I totally agree with you on that. But there's a concern from that side of the community that he will put the Keystone Pipeline through in his second term, because by then he doesn't need them. He can make the unions happy by putting Keystone through, but anger the environmentalists.
Well, that's where he has the problem. He's got the problem. He's got the unions and he's got the environmentalists, right, and they are diametric right now.
In his own camp.
Yeah, on the energy and jobs issues, they are definitely on opposite sides, and he does have a problem because all the pundits basically agree that this is going to be a really tight, hard-fought race. And for whoever wins on either side is going to need to bring together as many coalitions as they possibly can. And so the president really needs the environmentalists. So when they have threatened him, and in my column I have links to the references where Michael Brune, executive director of the Sierra Club, And then in a Rainforest Action Network press release, a variety of environmental groups have said, if you do what we want you to do, then you will see a surge of enthusiasm for your campaign as you did in 2008. And so, we have the president on television on one hand standing there talking about that he is all for and all of the above energy policy. When you get right down to the reality, that's not the actions that he's actually taking. So, surprise, his words and his actions do not match.
Now, if you go to newsnm.com, you'll see Marita's latest column, less about hugging trees, more about bringing America to her knees. I love that title, Marita. I don't know if you've been on the site lately, but there was a video, If I Wanted America to Fail, and it pretty much talks about, if I wanted America to fail, it talks about all the environmental and public policy and regulations that have been instituted by the environmentalists who have maintained and retained control of what if they would do to make America fail. And of course, that's what we're seeing going on right now, is seeing those policies. So I thought your article and your column complemented that video very well.
Well, thank you. It's definitely a message that has got to get out there. And I appreciate you all giving me the opportunity to spread this word, because that's really what we're seeing right now. And it has, as I say in the title, and I have to say I was fairly pleased with myself when I came up with that as the closing line, and then it became the title. But it was my closing line first, and I was like, "Ooh, that's good, that's good."
It is,
and it made it into the title. But that is what's happening, and the solution to America's economic woes and job crisis are to basically to neuter the environmental group's impact, because they're blocking everything, anything that wants to happen. Someone who wants to build a bridge. I mean, remember back at the time of the release of the stimulus funds, they discovered that some of the problems that they had with spending the money was that they couldn't get past the environmental permitting process for the infrastructure.
No matter what they wanted to do. We're going to come back and have more with Marita Noon. She talks about technology and the economy. We'll have more with her when we get back.
A check? Hell yeah, I can write you a check.
I thought you wanted real money. Yeah. We have Marita Noon, EnergyMakesAmericaGreat.org, talking the meld of technology to the economy. That's where the Keystone Pipeline comes in, doesn't it?
I'm not sure that I referenced the meld of technology and the economy.
Well, I'm just thinking that, I'm just thinking that.
I'm sure that you are right. I'm sure that you are totally correct about that. But the Keystone Pipeline is that, because we've got far more advanced technology and monitoring, et cetera, that can make things happen so much more safely. But in my column, what I was talking about, which is again the meld of technology and the economy, is specifically the Pebble Mine in Alaska. And while that may not sound like it has a lot of relevance to New Mexico, it actually does, because we have a lot of mining in this state as well. In fact, I kind of cut my teeth on energy issues. I first learned about this and in fact, wrote my very first op-ed ever regarding uranium mining in the Grants area of New Mexico and that battle. And I was just at an event Saturday night with someone who I was involved in that battle with, and I said to him, so what has happened with that? I haven't really followed it. We fought it, we lost. And what has happened? He said, the traditional cultural property designation has just basically stopped all activities, and we are mining some uranium, but not at all in that area, because the environmental actions just have shut it down. And when we were fighting it, they said, oh, it won't make any impact. You'll still be able to do this, and you'll still be able to do this. And we were like, I don't think so. And history has proven. When, again, the relevance is we have something similar going on with the sand dune lizard. I know everybody's sick of me talking about the lizard, but, the environmentalists are saying, oh, no, this designation won't hurt this designation won't impact. And so you kind of say, well, then why are we bothering with this designation if this activity that you claim hurts the lizard is still going to be able to continue? It's not going to be able to continue. And we're seeing that with the Pebble Mine, which is the specific example that I used in my column of the environmental groups and the Obama administration in collusion, because in this particular case of this mine, an application hasn't even yet been applied for, and the environmentalists are pushing for the EPA to preemptively deny the permit, which is denying due process, and it's just wrong. It's not the way we do things in this country.
Well, I experienced that myself. I sometimes send a suggestion in, and I get 2 rejections. I get a rejection for that idea, and I get a rejection for whatever the heck else I may think of later. You know, that's what EPA.
Whatever you're going to think of, they don't like.
They ain't going to like it. So, Marita Noon, we appreciate all the things you do. Do you think this election will actually set us on a path where we actually could get away from this bad thinking?
Yes, we definitely do have a choice election, and we've got a choice of 2 viewpoints of where America goes. Do we have a government-centered society, or do we have an enterprise, free market, growth-centered society? And we're going to make a choice. We'll see what America chooses. Yeah, obviously, you know what I think America should choose.
Well,
you know what? Energy makes America great.
It does, and voting is important if you want America to be great.
Yes, it's very important, especially in this year. It is extremely important, and we'll talk about it many more times, I'm sure.
Marita Noon, EnergyMakesAmericaGreat.org. Check out that website, EnergyMakesAmericaGreat.org. Thank you, Marita.
Thank you. I appreciate it.